Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube? This is SCL0320. I am back for another movie review. This completes basically Jurassic Week, Jurassic World Week, with the final one, well, the third one, Jurassic Part 3, which I'll go ahead and say this is the weakest out of all of them, including the new one. The new one, I don't know if I'd rate it in between the second one as being, I don't know, the second best or not. I'm not really sure. But this is what I'll do. I'm going to go ahead and break down my review for Jurassic Part 3. So this one was actually directed by my very own co-producer, everything, Joe Johnson. No, not that Joe Johnson actually. It's another Joe Johnson. But Steven Spielberg did not put his hands involved in this one necessarily as far as on the directing seat in this time. I think he had creative rights to be able to kind of like push it and talk about it, but he was not directly involved in it. So it made for a different kind of movie. One of the things I'll say about this right here that I've actually got is that it had a lot of actually behind the scenes stuff that I was surprised about. And I actually really enjoyed. I like how they took and dissected all the different ones, had all the different trailers and just the metamorphosis of how they actually introduced each one of the dinosaurs and the CG behind it. That was really well done as far as the box set is concerned. Now the movie is concerned, I felt like it has so much potential to be a lot better, but this movie felt like more of a spin-off than a sequel to the second one or the first one. They make mentions to certain things that kind of happen in the world, because I think that one of the main characters well, I'll go ahead and talk about a little bit of the story first. The story goes where you got two people that basically blackmail the main character by the name of Alan. It's played by Sam Neill, and he initially was talking about in the seminar he would never, like, it would take heaven on earth for him to go back to this island, you know. And at this point he's like meaning silly about these different creatures, and he thinks of them as not just like nature's design, but these were like man-made monsters essentially, and he doesn't represent them or care for them too much anymore. And he gets blackmailed going on this island, and when he goes, it's funny because he gets there and he's thinking they're gonna take like a trip like through like on the air and like on a certain level, and they're never gonna land. And they basically, he gets lied to, gets knocked in the back of the head. He wakes up on the island. He's thinking to himself like, what the heck are y'all doing, you know? But you find out that him and his old prodigy or old associate, they are not together. So Ellie has married and had 2 children. They did not get married. I'm not sure if that's because like he was traumatized from stuff that happened, or if she wanted kids and he didn't. Who really knows? But they didn't, you know, they didn't cultivate a relationship with that. I thought that was a weak point. I thought that they could have used them being like together and showing like them, they have a family and stuff like that. It would add more weight to him even thinking about comprehending going back on the island, because he wouldn't want to do that. Not just that, like, he, in my opinion, wouldn't tell war stories to his children about what happened there, and then for him to have to go back and then them had to see it, I think that it would have added more weight versus just Ellie just having like some other dude that she's married to and having 2 kids, you know. I thought that was kind of weak sauce. But anyway, progressing into the story, you've got Tia Tioni and you got William Macy. William Macy plays the role of Paul Kirby, and then Amanda Kirby. So they're both divorced, but they're going on this island for what? And you find out that they're trying to look for their son. And the son, I guess it was on the trip with her her new husband or whatever he is to her. They didn't even identify that in the story arc. But when they go, they find out that he's dead and they don't know where the kid is. I think what I'll say about this movie, I'll start talking about some of the things I don't like, and then I'll start talking about some of the things I did like. The thing that I didn't like is the fact that every actor in this are heavyweights. Like, these actors are actually really good. Even down to like William H. Macy is a great actor, and so is Sam Neill. And if I'm not mistaken, Tia Leone, I think she got like nominated for an Academy Award as well. But like every single line and script that they gave to this, it was like they were so corny. And they were not just corny, like they were annoying corny. Like, she was going, yelling on a loudspeaker, they were going and having these kind of witty banters. And it was like, when she found out that her boyfriend or whatever he was to her died, like she didn't emote, she just kind of freaked out and ran. And then like the body that was supposedly a decomposed body of I guess 8 weeks, it didn't look like that. Like it was like poor, in my opinion, just poor I guess practical effects. It just didn't seem right. And then her dialogue and how she emoted to it, she didn't react like if I'm looking at the first Taken when they find out something kind of happened, like she reacted, you know what I'm saying? Like it's different stuff that I feel like they fell flat on when they had an opportunity of really good actors that could actually make this a different level of scope. And I felt like they tried to focus on this new dinosaur that I think if I get it right, Spinopodus Egypticus. They basically, when this new dinosaur that's supposed to be a lot bigger than T-Rex, you see it, and I guess to give weight to how strong it is, or this new predator, they had it interact with this T-Rex, and the T-Rex, it started going back and forth, and then just for the heck of it, the thing just snaps the T-Rex neck, you know. And I mean, I don't know what they were doing, but it felt really campish. Like I felt like even when there were scenes where like I saw this new threat like in the water and at nighttime, I was like, okay, these are decent effects. But then when I did see it, it was like I saw like the animatronic version, and it was so big, and I think the way the snout lined, it just didn't feel real. It didn't feel real to me. It felt like it was a different form of quality, and I don't know if they should have added CG when there was practical effects, or when there was CG they should have added practical effects. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. It kind of took me out of like the whole semblance of the original 2. And the original 2, it was like making me feel like, man, this is real, you know. Even like the way that the dinosaurs reacted and interacted. Like when it came to the raptors, I thought that was really interesting. I thought it was like, okay, well, you find out now that the raptors have this certain kind of chord or vocal pattern where they can actually potentially communicate. And I thought that it was cool that Alan was the one that figured that out early on. And then they actually, in my opinion, were the first ones in the movie universe to actually talk about what's called now 3D printing. Because they actually used the scope of how that outline would look, and then it kind of printed stuff. And I thought it was really cool. I guess this was like, what, 14 years ago when this movie was made in 2001. So I thought it was really cool. But it was just, the dialogue was just really cheesy for me, y'all. I really didn't like the dialogue. It wasn't until you get introduced to the boy, Eddie, who was in, he was in a couple different things. One of the ones I think I remember the most was The Patriot. He played I think he played the middle son. But he did a good job. I actually really liked this character. I was like, he was smart. He kept the banner going, and at the same exact time, it wasn't until the son came into the fold that it seemed like the other actors were really interacting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, when he was in trouble, when he was like trying to help them out, stuff like that, that's when I started seeing tears. That's when I started seeing like them really trying to kind of act. And I think that the pterodactyl scene was probably the best thing about the movie, to be quite honest with you, because that was the first time I ever got really afraid of a pterodactyl. Like, I remember looking in the movie theater, I was like, yeah, I ain't never get this. And I forgot it, but when I was looking at it in this one, I was like, yo, these pterodactyls are real. Like, they took the little boy, they tried to feed him, because I was like, he's one of the characters I actually like. And like, I mean, they were trying to get him, you know? And it was really gory because some of the stuff that was happening, I was like, yo. Because Alan had a friend played by, what's his name? Alessandro. And his name was Billy. And Billy was kind of like his kind of protege, you know, he was a younger version of Alan, essentially. And Billy made a stupid mistake of stealing some Velociraptor eggs, you know, and that puts the whole scenario in like a crazy kind of flux of what's going to happen next. And I was thinking, this is going to play out later on pretty well, you know, but it was like, as it was going on, I was like, what was he thinking? Like, why would he have taken those eggs? Like, oh, I'm going to take these eggs, get them off, and then, you know, make some money off of them. But what happens when they hatch, you know? He just wasn't thinking at all. And I was like, that didn't make sense. As far as a plot device, I can understand it, like to add like weight towards the end of it, because when they get cornered by those Velociraptors, I was like, okay, man, this is about to get really serious. But it wasn't, like I said, like the group that was with them really didn't help because they died so early. It wasn't that many deaths in this one because there wasn't that many characters in it, but the characters that were in it, they were underused and they were decent actors, and I just didn't understand like why the dialogue that was coming through. It just didn't make sense to me. And even like in the beginning, like when when the plane crashed that they were on, when they were kind of going through and stuff like that, and you see one of the guys that went off the plane and he was kind of trying to get back, and he's sitting right in front of the plane and he's like, I can't pull, I can't up. And then the plane goes and they crash into a tree. I'm looking at them, I'm like, these dudes are not injured. I was like, if this was any of the other ones, like somebody's leg would have been jacked up or somebody would have been seriously injured or hurt. Even the guy, Billy, that gets attacked by the oh my gosh, what are they called? I forget them. I can't believe I got them. But the bird-like ones. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. When he got attacked in the water and like you just see kind of like blood everywhere, stuff like that, he made it out alive. And I'm thinking, I was like, dude, you don't have any limbs missing, your eyes good, like everything. I was like, it's just kind of unbelievable, you know, whereas most of the time in the other ones, like when somebody gets injured, they're injured and it's kind of like a permanent injury, you know. And it's just, this one just felt so different. And like I said, there were certain moments, the pterodactyl, that's what it was, sorry. It was certain moments like that scene I liked. Certain parts with the scientific side of the velociraptors, I thought that was really cool. But I honestly felt like Alan was underused. I felt like the Kirby's were underused. I feel like the sun was really cool. I actually connected with the sun. But then there was even a part where the T-Rex, like they were trying to look for this phone, right? It was like a satellite phone. And this phone, I kid you not, they used that ringtone to make money back in 2001. I think it was Sony. I can't remember. It was some brand that they had that ringtone. And I remember back when I was younger, everybody had that ringtone. And when they looked at the movie, it was like, oh, I know that ringtone. Everybody wanted the ringtone after looking at the movie. That was one of the things that connected with everybody. And this new creature like actually swallowed somebody that actually had the video phone. So it pooped it out later on, and they were trying to get to it. They dug into it. All of a sudden, the T-Rex gets there, and I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna have to think out of their seat out of this one. Like, how are they gonna get away? You know, T-Rex just looks at him, shakes his head, and dips. Just because they smell bad, you think a T-Rex is not gonna eat somebody? Come on, dude. So it's just certain things and action that I just couldn't get with. But like I said, it was entertaining for what it was. Beginning, it was, in my opinion, just wasn't there. I didn't like the choices what they made with the story. But it was entertaining towards the latter portion of it. It really was. But I give it a 6 or a 6.5 out of 10 as far as what my thoughts on it. Hopefully you enjoyed my review for Jurassic Part 3. Hopefully you've liked this Jurassic World week that I've been doing as far as my reviews are concerned. If you did like this review, please leave a like below. Have any comments or thought process about this, please let me know in the comment section. I'm going to be real with y'all, you know what I'm saying? I'm not always going to have movies that I really like. This was not one of them, but I did give it a decent score in my opinion. And hopefully you enjoyed it as well. So thanks everybody for subscribing. Thanks everybody for watching this. I got one more video I'm going to be doing for Jurassic World Week. This is SCL0320 signing out. Y'all have a blessed evening, blessed day, blessed night. Until next time, till next review. Later everybody.